Now it's time for Open House, sponsored by Pyramid Heating and Cooling.
We love construction, and when people ask what's going on with the I-205 bridge construction, we go find out. All right, we're down here at the Abernathy Bridge project with ODOT. Della, thanks for having us down today.
Yeah, great to be here with you today, Eric. We're really glad you're here to learn about all the technological advancements we're using to retrofit the Abernathy Bridge.
Let's talk about this. This is a massive project down here.
Yeah, it really is. So this is the first mega project that ODOT has started construction on in nearly 45 years. So not since the Glenn Jackson Bridge over the Columbia River have we began construction on a mega project like this on the 205 corridor.
And this is a big project. I mean, this is a big bridge that has a lot to it, and you're trying to add on to the existing one, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Our plan is to actually widen the bridge a little bit, and we're going to take the existing bridge, and to do that we're going to slide it apart and then pour some concrete in the middle to make that bridge a little bit wider.
Wow, that's a lot of work. How do you move a bridge of that size?
Well, very carefully. So first thing what we need to do is actually start from the bottom up. So we need to put in the new foundations that are going to create the earthquake-ready Abernathy Bridge. And we use a special piece of technology to do that called an oscillator. And out on this project, we have a piece of equipment that was built specifically to build the foundations, and we've affectionately named that piece of equipment Oscar the oscillator.
Nice. I love that. And so that's really what does the heavy lifting for that.
Yeah, it really does. So the foundations that'll support this bridge are over 200 feet below the top of the water surface that you see out here.
Wow.
And so that piece of equipment is building foundations that are 12 feet wide, that are the deepest foundations of that width anywhere in the entire country.
Wow, so it's got a lot of support and be able to hold up to any future earthquakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it digs down, and as it's digging down, it has a little bucket that takes the soil out, and that bucket, just for reference, is so big that one bucket scoop can fill up an entire dump truck load with each scoop as it's going down those 200 feet to create those super deep, reliable foundations that will support the bridge in case of an earthquake. All bridges are actually designed to move a little bit.
Sure.
We don't want a rigid bridge. We want a somewhat flexible, movable bridge, but we want to decide how much it flexes and how much it moves.
There we go, instead of Mother Nature doing it for you.
Exactly.
That makes sense. So what's the timeline for a project like this?
This project takes a while. And in fact, here at Abernathy, we're going to be out here for what we call 4 construction seasons.
Okay.
So there are certain times a year that we're able to do work in the water. We finished one of those water seasons, and we're just starting the second water season. We'll need 4 water seasons to complete all the work in the water to support the bridge.
Alan, thanks for having us out here today, man. This is great.
Yeah, pretty neat, huh?
This is super cool. What are we looking at here, brother?
So this is our temporary kind of bridge that we're using that Kiewit built to help get access out to the river so we can start building up columns. This is their central piece of equipment that they use to do a lot of the heavy lifting around here.
Yeah.
They call it the DBLA.
Cool.
It's a 300-ton crane that can pretty much support all the work around the river here. They use it to lift forms, they use it to lift equipment. It supports the whole river and marine operations of this project.
Nice, so it's basically just fastened down to the river bottom and tied off and doing the lifting.
Yep, it's anchored by these spuds right here, down in the river.
Very cool.
And then they use this tugboat to, pull them up and move them around wherever they need it to go. It doesn't have any motors of itself.
Okay, so what are they working on here specifically?
Well, this is our first column that's coming out of the water. This is one of the main river spans, and we call it Pier 5, but it's our first concrete that the public can see coming out of the river finally. We just wrapped up our pour last week with it, and so you can see inside of that, the formwork and that plastic, there's a bunch of steel that helps make it strong in an earthquake, and so all that plastic right now is helping the concrete cure. Because of the hot weather, we got to be really careful with how we cure concrete.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely critical to the strength of the structure. So that's what you see going on right now is the concrete is in its cure period.
Okay, so then that gives them the opportunity to start working on the steel work for the next pour then.
Yeah. So, well, the next element will be connecting that column to the column that we'll see on the other side.
Okay.
With a cross beam,
Cool.
a new concrete cross beam, and that'll be, you know, much bigger than the ones that are out there today. So.
All right, Alan, what do we got here, man?
So this barge has all the temporary support structures that have been used in building the column you see coming out of the water.
Wow.
So these big tube frames you see here, those are what we call our reaction frames.
Okay.
And those go on top of the piles that are in the water.
Okay.
And then Oscar, the oscillator, sits on top of those and does his thing and digs the shafts.
Wow.
And so once we get those shafts in and we have an actual shaft with a casing, then these box metal structures you see here, those slide down over it and actually get secured to the shaft.
Okay.
You know, suspended in the water, and then we pump out all the river water.
Okay, so that's the cofferdam for that.
They're temporary cofferdams, and so that's how we start the column construction.
All right, Alan, looks like we're starting over another one over here, huh?
Yeah, so what you see out here is how we kind of start the pile driving operation during at the start of the in-water work window. And so we have an excavator out here clearing all the rock from the bottom of the river. That rock is put there to protect the piles that are there today.
Yeah.
But we have to remove it so we can build these temporary bridges, and it's really hard to pound pile through all these boulders, so they go in there, excavate it, and kind of get the area all ready for pile driving. So we can build more of these structures over there at Pier 6.
Nice. Looks like it's not that deep right in this area compared to other spots.
It's not, no. And so that's the timing of this, and you know, trying to time this out with water levels is something that our contractor does a good job of, you know, reading. And so right now, that's why we're trying to get in here as soon as we can in the in-water work period to get this work done.
There we go.
You know, we've had our fair share of obstructions on this project. You know, be it boulders or be it old you know, steel bridge piles from the original construction of the bridge. So as we start excavating, you know, we do our best to try to clear our way before we do that, but once you go underground, it's really hard to determine, you know, how quick it's going to take and, you know, if there's going to be anything down there. So
Alan, thanks for having us out here today, man. This is such a great project. Where do people go to find out information to see the updates on it?
Yeah, thanks for coming out. I mean, we love sharing kind of the progress we make out here. We've got regular updates and access to some live construction cameras at I-205corridor.org that the public can go. They can sign up for alerts via text messages or Twitter or you know, all your social media channels, and just stay in tune with the project.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. Now you know what's going on 205.